What do you mean the immigrants are getting a check and we're putting them up in places that what? You mean in the homeless people's face?
Right in the homeless people's faces.
Like,
right?
Let us show you what we could have done.
Right.
Wow.
Crazy.
That's not okay.
Joe Rogan has been having interesting conversations on his podcast, bringing in some cool guests. In a recent episode with KATT WILLIAMS, they talked about woke culture, society, and who really controls things. I've got some clips to show you. In the video, KATT WILLIAMS suggests that the US government adds fluoride to drinking water to shrink the pineal gland. Joe Rogan chimes in, mentioning that high levels of fluoride can be dangerous and might lower your IQ. KATT WILLIAMS also calls out the US government for violating American policies by giving checks to immigrants and prioritizing housing for immigrants over homeless US citizens. In the discussion between KATT WILLIAMS and Joe Rogan, it seems like KATT WILLIAMS is holding back some of the knowledge he has. People like KATT WILLIAMS, Dave Chappelle, and Joe Rogan, especially comedians, are sharing their true thoughts on podcasts. Other comedians like them, such as those on ESPN or actors in Hollywood, probably think the same things but can't speak out because they might face consequences. We've seen it happen to people like Mel Gibson and Jim Carrey. They get shunned in Hollywood for expressing their views. The unique thing about comedians like KATT WILLIAMS, Dave Chappelle, and Joe Rogan is that they are their own brands. They can't easily be cancelled because they don't rely on anyone else for their success. It's an interesting dynamic. Thanks for tuning in. That's why people like KATT WILLIAMS can go on Joe Rogan's podcast and talk openly about issues affecting US citizens. In one clip, KATT WILLIAMS discusses problems like homelessness among US citizens, especially military veterans, while the government is prioritizing immigrants for housing and financial support. It's a powerful moment. Joe Rogan's podcast has been getting a lot of attention lately. There's another viral clip we'll check out. Stay tuned for more from KATT WILLIAMS and Joe Rogan.
Pineal gland. What medicine says it's for, and what that would mean. And so those people's job is to make sure that there's fluoride in all the water. So your pineal gland will shrivel.
Get calcified or whatever happens to it.
That's all.
The fluoride thing is wild. The fact that people aren't up in arms about them putting fluoride in your fucking drinking water is so crazy. It's so unnecessary.
It's brilliant on the other end, though.
Oh, yeah.
So what happened is the reason people have that relationship is they cleaned up the water the same time that they did that. You see what I'm saying? So people at that time just remember the water not being that great. And then all of a sudden the water is really great and it's got fluoride and it's good for your
teeth.
Right.
Despite the fact that there's direct correlations between high levels of fluoride in drinking water and low IQs. They think it lowers people's IQs. They think it's terrible for you. Fluoride's dangerous.
Yeah.
Many people are getting upset about what Joe Rogan and KATT WILLIAMS are saying, and I'll show you those comments in a moment. Some say it's just conspiracy theories without proper studies or factual evidence. Now, let's discuss the fluoride in water. People are questioning if the official reason given to citizens, that it's good for teeth, is the whole truth. Is there another reason behind adding fluoride to the water supply? Those who control and manage water quality might have their own motives. Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious because, like Joe Rogan is saying, we want to know if there's more to the story. Now, let's dive back into this Joe Rogan and KATT WILLIAMS clip.
Whatever you're saying, people won't find out about that for 100 years, and I'm not even going to be 100. And most of these decisions are made like that.
Yeah. Well, most people are terribly unaware of the fluoride thing. When you bring it up, they always say it's good for your teeth. Like, don't you brush your fucking teeth? Like, why do you need fluoride? Why do you need fluoride in your water? Are you sure that's why your teeth aren't falling out?
It's the fact that people don't understand that it's a toxic thing that you can't buy or purchase or handle.
It's
Like-
in your drinking water.
Like,
And it's not doing you any good other than supposedly it's good for your teeth.
well, even if it was,
Yeah, even if it was. At what cost?
even if it was great for your teeth and your bones, you drinking it wouldn't be the way you'd be trying to get.
If the goal is to improve our dental health, they could simply provide fluoride toothpaste to everyone. It doesn't make sense to randomly add fluoride to the water without people having a choice. Let's be realistic, they're not doing it just to help our teeth.
No.
But
I don't even use fluoride toothpaste.
I'm not gonna let you take me where this conversation is going.
Where's it going?
Now that we went to fluoride, like
Where's
I'm
it
gonna have
going?
to cut no further than that, because once you start having what they'll do, like yeah, you understand everything's a campaign, and that's how you can approach everything is find out
Who's making money off this?
Where's the profit? How does this
Yeah.
make sense? Why? Yeah.
Somewhere right now, the fluoride plants are going, what the fuck are they talking about? Somebody just introduced legislation to try to remove fluoride from some state from drinking water. Some people are waking up to it. They're realizing, like, this is so unnecessary and obviously not good.
Well, just understand that there are far too many places that don't have clean waters.
So, they're going to discuss issues like in Flint, Michigan, where the water isn't clean. But even in places with supposedly clean water, there are problems. It's not just fluoride, there are chemicals from things like birth control pills that end up in the water. It seems like more people are becoming aware of these issues nowadays, but it often takes someone like KATT WILLIAMS, who's their own brand, to speak up.
Flint, Michigan. Still that water's fucked up. There's what about that place in Ohio where that?
Hold on. And why? Because nobody wants it to be their fault, so nobody will take like.
Right.
You understand how?
Well, even the government. There's plenty of money for Ukraine.
Not even.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
how are we allowed to have a foreign policy when we are violating the policies here?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like what do you mean the immigrants are getting a check and we're putting them up in places that what? You mean in the homeless people's face?
Right in the homeless people's faces.
Like,
right?
let us show you what we could have done.
Right.
Wow.
Crazy.
That's not okay.
It's great to witness Joe Rogan and KATT WILLIAMS becoming aware of these facts. Some might label these discussions as right-wing talking points, but it's not just about politics. It's about individuals thinking for themselves and not being like robots who haven't had a software update in ages. These points made by KATT WILLIAMS and Joe Rogan are more about common sense than any political affiliation. Also, there's another interesting clip from Joe Rogan. I believe Joe has been doing a fantastic job with his podcast lately, bringing in important discussions. This tweet by Benny Johnson talks about Joe Rogan having a spiritual moment on his show. It's surprising because Joe Rogan, who has been known as an agnostic, is now talking about Jesus and asking for his return. Joe used to dismiss religion as silly, but now he's discussing it on his podcast. In the clip, Joe Rogan mentions the importance of having some kind of divine structure, belief in love and truth, and how many people get their moral guidance from religion. He points out that some intelligent folks often ignore the positive aspects of religion because they think the stories are just superstitious fairy tales.
But I think as time rolls on, people are going to understand the need to have some sort of divine structure to things, some sort of belief in the sanctity of love and of truth. And a lot of that comes from religion. A lot of people's moral compass and the guidelines that they've used to follow to live a just and righteous life has come from religion. And unfortunately, a lot of very intelligent people, they dismiss all of the positive aspects of religion because they think that the stories are mere superstitious fairy tales, that they have no place in this modern world, and we're inherently good and your ethics are based on your old moral compass and we all have one. And that's not necessarily true. We need Jesus. I think, for real. Like, if he came back now, it'd be great. Like, Jesus, if you're thinking about coming back
Right now?
now's a good time.
Yeah,